going on, everybody? It's 4th of July here, the day of freedom, and I wanted to talk about one of the most underrated Jimi Hendrix songs out there, Freedom. Jimi Hendrix, one of the nastiest blues song things you could ever do. So today we're just gonna talk a little bit about that Jimmy chord, and then kind of how he uses some of that pentatonic goodness to run his licks into pure freedom. So thanks for joining us. If you don't know what freedom is, today in America, it's the 4th of July, Independence Day. Yesterday we played a show, and I dedicated it to all the freedom fighters. I think I'll probably have like a gig vlog type deal up on that tomorrow. But yeah, freedom. Anyway, so it's C sharp. It's kind of like the main thing right here, which let's just do kind of like a dominant 7, C sharp dominant 7 thing real quick. Middle finger 4th fret on the A string. What's up from Turkey? How's it going? Pointer finger 3rd fret on the D string, ring finger 4th fret on the G string, and then pinky 5th fret on the B string. So this is the Jimmy chord. What's up, Preston? Okay, so Jimmy chord. Now remember this because we're gonna bring it down here. Okay, same chord, just a different spot. So the first riff is just awesome. It's like then we get into the goodness. I remember when your thumbnail was you drinking coffee at your computer. Yeah, that's here's to that. The old days. Yeah, those were the days, weren't they, Jimmy and Christian and Gerald? We're discussing Freedom, the Jimi Hendrix song Freedom. Okay, so we have this like riff. It's super easy. It's a chord. They start out with power chords. C sharp to B, so 4A, 6, 6, 2. Cool, just power chords. Just rocking it out, strap, position 5. Going through this analog alien fuzz bubble pedal that I did did a review demo on the other day. And then I just love that Hendrix arpeggio connection thing. Open to 4 on the E string to 2A. It's really just kind of like you can see that as the E major arpeggio, but it's really more just a lead up to those power chords. So C sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, B. And then once you get some speed into it, it sounds okay, which is great, but that's not the super fun part about it. The super fun part about it is once you get the pentatonic runs into it, right? Because there's that Jimmy chord right there. Everybody's got to know that Jimmy chord. That dominant 7 sharp, whatever you want to call it, the Jimmy chord. You know what I'm saying? The purple haze chord. But we're doing it on the 4th fret. Because again, this is like a C sharp blues, okay? So, I know we love to do the Jimmy chord on the A string, but we're going to root it on the low E string. So, to do it, we have to offset our fingers. So we have the C sharp on the E, which is 9E, 8A, 9 and 9, D and G. Okay, so keep that active strumming hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It's just down and up with your hand, and then just use your fretting hand to push down when you want it to. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so once you have that, then, well, guess what? We're in C sharp minor pentatonic position 1. It's great, right? So, I guess I don't even know. Maybe that kind of like mini bend on the 11th fret. Something like that. You just go back and forth. So I think Freedom is like a great It's a great concept for humanity, for sure. But it's also a great song, and it's a great blues song because you can kind of just vamp on this C sharp and then just kind of throw in pentatonic licks. You can just rise up it like that. Again, it's just C sharp minor pentatonic. 9, 11, 9, 11, 9, A, D, and G string. But there is something that's even like that A string. There's something about getting the middle 4 strings that kind of makes you want to do that chord on the A string, right? So again, start from the beginning. Rock out the minor pentatonic stuff, which is so easy to do once you just get your fingers under it. That's why you kind of practice those pentatonic runs and scales, etc. Brian knows. He knows what's up. Yeah. Elliot. What? Elliot what? Liberty? Elliot Smith? Is that what we're talking about? Oh, Independence Day. Somebody said Independence Day. Elliot Smith. That's a great song. It's in a different tuning, which I probably, I should probably, if I'm going to do that song, I should probably actually tune the guitar correctly to do it. Or just in standard, because 4th of July, Independence Day. That's what's up. But yes, I should, why did I do Independence Day for today? Why didn't I think ahead and do that? That's dumb. Greetings from my home city of Mesquite. By the way, you need a Tiger's hat. Muskegon, yeah, Chuck. Close, very close. Went to high school in Grand Haven, Michigan, which is the town just next to Muskegon. Yeah. Amp, what amp am I using? I'm using the Supro Blackmagic Reverb. Love this amp. So again, this pedal, I'm using this fuzz bubble pedal. Look at that's adds a lot of gain. Can't even hear it. But once you dime the volume out on the Blackmagic, it's like I just love. That's just the natural gain from the amp. That's sounds great. You know what I'm saying? Anything special in the coffee? Coconut milk? Doesn't get much more special than that, right? Is this a Vintera Strat or custom shop? Neither, Nick. This is a 62 reissue that I got when I worked at Guitar Center. I'll tell you the story behind this guitar. Real quick, I'll just put it on a humbucker so the buzzing stops. But this guitar was sitting in the showroom at Guitar Center when I worked there in Las Vegas. And the cool thing about when I was working at Guitar Center is you could buy stuff directly from Fender, kind of like the artist pricing, which is usually like 40% off. So it's a really good deal. And I wanted like a nice Strat back in the day. And there was something about that showroom 62 Strat reissue that I just instantly fell in love with. And what happened was, instead of buying the one in the showroom, I just had Fender send it to me, like a new one, for whatever reason. This is when I wasn't as educated as I am right now. And this guitar is awesome. The thing I love most about this guitar is the color, for sure. Sherwood Green is Fender's best color that they have ever put out. And it's so rare. I don't know why they don't just have American standards in Sherwood Green. I would buy a new one every year. But love Sherwood Green. But when it came to me, this was not the same guitar that I played in that showroom. So that's what really led me to understand the differences between guitars that are the exact same make and model. Because, spec-wise, it was the exact same guitar, but it didn't have the mojo that the showroom guitar had, even though it was the same thing. So again, love this guitar. It's kind of an important guitar to me because it was my first nice guitar. Because, build quality, it's supposed to be custom shop-esque, I suppose. And I have zero complaints about this guitar other than that the neck is, it's that big baseball shape size neck, so it's a pretty thick neck, which is why I prefer the Music Man St. Vincent to it, just as far as like what I consider my main guitar, just because the St. Vincent just plays so good. But again, this guitar has a lot of mojo to it, but not as much as the exact same guitar that was sitting in that showroom. So if I could have done it again, I would have bought that guitar that I liked, that I fell in love with in the showroom, just because, again, there was something awesome about that guitar that this one doesn't have. But this one is a great guitar. It's just not the exact same thing. Is it nitro? Yes, nitro cellulose finish on the neck. I don't know how well you can kind of see the back of this neck here, but I love that. It's kind of like, it just feels good. A lot of people think it's kind of sticky. It wears over time and stuff, but yeah, this is the nitro neck. What's up, Jared? Yeah, that's so that's my story, Nick. The story of the 62 Strat. Probably needs new strings. Yeah. Anyways, so your bridge love was the show model. He tried to get me one for the basement GC. Nope, you want that one? Yes. So that's the moral of the story. If you are playing a guitar in a shop or somewhere and you fall in love with it, do not buy that same one new, because it might not have the mojo that has been infused in it through the years. There are 3 guitars that I can remember in my life that I regret not making happen. I don't count this one because I still made it happen. Again, I don't want to say that this is a bad guitar by any stretch. It's just like, I love this guitar, but it is just a little different. The other 3 that I wish I would have gotten was, I used to help out this local guitar shop in Sarasota. I would do videos for them. I think some of them are still on the internet and stuff. But they would get trade-ins every now and then. And they got this trade-in that was like a 1963 Gibson Hummingbird, and it was like super beat up, but it was like the coolest type of beat up that you'd ever see. Like just like a lot of wear and tear from just like being like played, but it sounded so good. But again, you know, this is a vintage guitar. It was worth a lot of money, so I think I would have had to pay like between $2,000 and $3,000 for it. And this was by no means did I have that kind of money back then, especially. But I could have sold some stuff, you know, to make it happen. And I wish I would have done that with that Hummingbird, because there was something like really special about that. I'm not one that's like super into vintage guitars, but again, every now and then something just comes along, and yeah, I regret not making moves to get that 62 Hummingbird. I think it was 62. It could one year in the 60s. I forget which one it was, but it sounded amazing, and it just aged perfectly, and it looked so beat up that it looked super cool. The other one at that same guitar shop was the Taylor Road Show would come through, and every year. So I kind of helped out with the Taylor Road Show for a few different years. And Sarasota was the last stop on their tour. So what they were doing is they were kind of selling a lot of their stock for under what it was worth, even though, you know, still super expensive, right? But they were trying to kind of get rid of it. And they had this like really cool electric guitar. Taylor's not known for their electric guitars really at all, but they had like an electric guitar that was made of like walnut, like reclaimed walnut. I think the story was that like a walnut tree fell into the Pacific Ocean or something, and they dragged it out and made some guitars out of it. And it was like such a gnarly looking body that had like, I don't know, just had like kind of chunks of walnut all throughout the solid body on an electric guitar. And again, it was like over $2,000 on sale, right? But it was kind of like a one-off that was like really, really cool. And I wish I would have gotten that. And the third guitar that got away from me was, it was in, I think it was at the Chicago Music Exchange shop. I was visiting a friend who lived there, and it was a Martin D35. It was like a 1983 Martin D35. That was just awesome. But again, it was just a little out of my price range. I could have made it happen if I made some moves. I'm so lazy making moves, moving money around, moving gear around. I never do that. But I wish I did. So those are the three beauties that got away. And I think some people have asked me like what my favorite guitar is and stuff like that. And honestly, that Ernie Ball Music Man St. Vincent is awesome. I love that guitar. I've never had a guitar grow on me more. I was kind of like, when it first came out. I love Annie Clark. She's one of my favorite musicians currently. But that guitar really grew on me. And then my Taylor GA3, I think, is the acoustic that I really love the most. Even though it doesn't have an electronic pickup, so I never really play live. But those are probably like the two that I would say are my favorites. So, yeah. No major quality improvements last 20 or more years, you think? I'll push back a little bit on that. So I have this, Strat-wise, I have this. And I also have a 2020 Ultra Strat that Fender sent me. And the Ultra Strats are better than these. Like I said, this one, I just kind of like the vibe of this, and I more love the color more than anything. But that Texas T Fender Ultra with the S1 switching, if you don't know what the S1 switching on some of the new Fenders is, it's like a little thing that you press that's on the volume knob, and basically it adds the neck pickup to any of the other pickup combinations. And what I found myself, whenever I play a Strat, I'm almost always on the neck, even for like bluesy. Like that's all on the neck, right? I never ever, so here's the bridge. I just don't vibe with like the bridge on Strats. But on the Ultra Strat, when you have the S1 engaged and you add the bridge, or the neck pickup to either the bridge pickup or in between, I think it sounds great. So I would say that's an improvement, for sure. But you're probably right, you know what I mean? How do I feel about that? Green 2, isn't it? What's green? Just the Ultra Strat that I have is Texas T. So that means it's black with gold flakes in it. But yeah, they might be using cheaper products now, probably. Did I go on my BMX? No, I don't think I ever had a BMX. I probably wanted one back in the day. Is that moonshine you're drinking? No, this is cold brew with coconut milk from Starbucks. So no. Yeah, so what do you guys want to talk about? Do you do much left-hand muting when playing individual notes? Yes, I do a lot. I'm not so I don't know, like what that means is like if I'm playing like notes, I guess it kind of depends on the context. Like if I'm just gonna hit one, you know what, that's a good question. I think when I'm leading up into a note, I do a lot of left-hand muting around that note, like right there, I'm kind of coming down with a little more force, which again isn't really my style totally, but whenever I do that, I definitely make sure to mute the string behind with that, which is kind of like a very like Frashani thing. But what I will say about left-hand muting is I use double stops a lot more than single notes on electric guitar. So I think that for Shani's style, I guess even though, yeah, he does the same thing with his left hand muting the notes around the string that he's going for, to kind of get more of an attack on the strings. Like you can even see when he's playing, he kind of attacks the strings almost like a, I guess kind of like a funk player in some ways. But yeah, my playing is nothing like his. Maybe not nothing like his. There's definitely inspirations there because he's one of my favorite guitar players, especially when I was learning. But I think I do it more double stop wise. But I guess now that I'm thinking about it, I probably do think about pick control more than I think about left hand muting control, I suppose. See, Michael knows the land of double stops is great. It's a great land. Mm-hmm. Am I preparing for the storm coming? Yeah, so supposedly we're going to get hit by a hurricane tomorrow. No, not prepared at all. Because I just never, every time they say there's a hurricane coming, it's always a clickbait situation and it never actually comes. So I feel like a fool, but I'm going to feel like even more of a fool when it actually does hit and I'm totally unprepared. Luckily, my mom's house is within driving distance and she's always prepared. So that's the great thing about being a mama's boy. You're like, Mom, I don't have any water. Like, she's probably already anticipating me being unprepared and therefore stocking extra water for me because I'm very well taken care of. So don't worry about me. When are you collaborating with Lucas Brar? I don't know who that is, but tell Lucas what's up. Come on down. I am representing Team USA fairly hard there. So this is the USA soccer shirt from the World Cup a few cycles ago. Because the US women's soccer team is like my favorite team of all time. Anything Abby Wambach, Rapinoe era, US women's national team, those girls are so savage. And like the majority of my patriotism lies with the women's national team because they're just bosses. Lucas is a jazz guitarist, so he's probably way better than me. Moms are the best, right, Dan? Absolutely. Check out. All right, let's all check out Lucas together. I'm down. I'm always down for checking out more YouTube stuff. And he's got humor. Oh my gosh, sounds like my guy. If any of you guys know him, tell him to go to NAMM. Summer NAMM is happening in Nashville, the 15th of this month, I think. So me and Andrea are going. Davidas is gonna be there too, so it's gonna be cool. Where in Chicago suburbs are you from? So I was born in the city of Chicago, and then I kind of grew up in Barrington, would be the suburb. Jens Larson, oh my gosh! We've summoned the jazz man. The jazz man himself. Jens, what is going on? Happy American Independence Day, Jens. If you guys don't know Jens' channel, he's the best. Every time I watch Jens, I learn something that I have no idea about previously. The absolute best. I've only met Jens once at the pre-COVID NAMM, and it was a life-changing experience. He's a very handsome gentleman. So thanks for popping in, Jens. Yeah, everybody should be a fan of Jens. Go to Jens' channel. In fact, stop looking at me live. I'm playing Freedom. You don't want to see some tool playing Freedom, go to Jens' channel and learn something. It'll be way better for you, I promise. Play the blues, for example, for me, please. All right, here, let's... So the cool thing about Freedom is it's a blues that is really just on C sharp. And it really just kind of sits there the whole time. And it's more fun, I think it's more fun if you play A string rooted Jimmy chord right there. And then get into that minor pentatonic position, whereas where we all make our money anyway, you know what I mean? Especially if you just take one finger, so like... And then back to the... So again, it's kind of like a one chord blues. And then it goes on like a... Then it kind of goes into like a little different riff. And that's why I think... I don't listen to a lot of blues playing, but I've always loved Hendrix. And I think that's one of the reasons why is because even in his bluesiest blues, it's never... There's not a lot of repetition. It's kind of wild. It's like all over the place. And that's why it's kind of fun to emulate because you can just... Conceptually, I think it's pretty easy. You're just on one chord, and then you just jump into a position, and you can just go back and forth all the time. What's more fun than that, right? Yeah. Better late than never. Welcome to the party, Joe. You've made me a better guitarist. Thank you. Well, thank you for watching, everybody. Play one harmonic. Sure, there we go. Wow, my harmonics. Really. Victor could have been a jazz musician. That's interesting. How do you mute the bottom 3 strings when you're strumming chords, or just the top 3 strings? I think like that kind of thing. really kind of, it's hard to see the strumming hand the way this camera's set up right here, but like, I think it's really, you just kind of get a feel for it, you know? A lot of it is your pick hitting the strings that you want or do not want to hit. So the bottom 3 strings, I think a lot of times I'm taking care of those with my fretting hand. Because I can feel like if I'm working my way through the string set, like that last upstroke, I can feel like the pressure of my bar chord kind of moving with it, right? You can always kind of tell by, you can see how somebody like maneuvers with their pointer finger to kind of where they're doing the bar chord stuff. Again, the majority of the stuff that I play is all acoustic guitar based. And usually the shows that we play are like 3 hours plus. So after 3 hours, you know, even with a decently low action guitar, those bar chords really do the trick on you. So you kind of have to come up with ways to, I don't know, just kind of cheat a little bit. Like I would say most of the time if I'm playing like a bar chord shape on acoustic guitar, like I'm really just kind of aiming for like the lowest 3 strings. Because I think when it comes to like what I've learned from accompanying the singers that I usually play with, or even if I'm singing myself, like I kind of want just like the lower mid-range of the guitar most of the time, and then leave like the higher register for maybe like bigger parts. I would say, especially for like the verses of songs and stuff, I think it's more like, and then maybe get bigger. I guess that's kind of how I think of like accompanying on acoustic guitar. And again, a lot of that is palm muting to control your dynamics, and then just kind of leaving a little bit of a ceiling to go to, so you're never all just like, you know, kind of hitting all that open string, because it just becomes kind of noisy. You know what I mean? Not that there's not a time and a place to get wild and rowdy and noisy, but I just have naturally adjusted my playing style to these shows and stuff. And I think a lot of it is palm muting as a dynamic control, as a volume control, and just a way to preserve your hands from always playing like super bar chords and stuff like that. See, Nick says, just feel it, bro. Know what I'm saying? How do you play A string bar chords with the pinky? It looks cool. I tried to learn a, like this. Like that type of deal, I guess. You know what's funny? I feel like I probably start using my pinky 3rd fret and lower, right? So if you can see this, see how like this is bent up? So the knuckle here on my pinky is kind of sitting up. That way I can still get that high E string. Which is like how hard is that to practice? I remember when I was trying to do that, I'm like, how do you get tone from the high E string if you're barring something like that? And I just could never do it, and I never practiced it. I just eventually started doing it. That's probably terrible advice, but I think the best advice is to not worry about it. It'll come. You don't need that high E string in there. Who needs the high E string there? Right? If you really want, you can just play it like with one finger. You don't need that high E string. Yo, Bobby, what's up? Have you had formal music training? No. No. Vocal training? No. You know what? I think this month I'm thinking about doing this vocal course, because singing is something that, like, you know, I'm an okay singer. Whatever, I sing songs. Not a great singer, but I think it would be interesting to kind of take a full vocal course. They have like these 30-day singer things, and I think me and Drea were actually both going to take it and just kind of share our results. So if that's something you guys would be interested in, let me know, because I think that's something that I'm going to try to do and like actually see how that helps, because anybody can sing. It's just, mostly confidence and then just practice. You know what I mean? Everything it just comes down to practice and stuff. Have you ever been working on a specific guitar skill, had trouble with it, forgot about it for a long time, returned to it months later, and suddenly found it really easy? Oh yeah, definitely. Let me think. I think more, instead of a specific guitar skill, I think it would be specific guitar songs. I remember when I was really, really trying to spend a lot of time learning Elliott Smith songs, there's one called Condor Avenue that I found extremely hard. I don't even know if I still remember what it's like. I remembered it. There it is. So like, there's some stuff about that song that was really hard for me at the time. Like, it starts off with this E to a D inversion, this part, which kind of leads into what somebody asked earlier about like Frusciante style left-hand muting. This is basically the 2nd fret on the low E string, and it's major 3rd, the 3rd fret on the G string, and that goes a fret higher. But instead of like E, G, E, G, E, slide, it's definitely not. That I would never have gotten that. I think that's how I was practicing it. And then eventually I just started playing more guitar and just playing other stuff. And then when I came back to it, it is. And then it just became so much easier because I just naturally figured out that I was muting those notes around it. So I didn't have to be as precise with my picking hand. So that was one song for sure that it seemed like I magically got better at that song. And that's why you always want to be learning new stuff, whether it's new songs, whether it's new techniques, new scale positions and shapes, because I think like you'll never know how something is going to come in handy down the road. So just keep learning, and it all helps. Like there's no such thing as like wasted guitar practice, even if it's a song that you forget. Just kind of like going through those reps is going to help you in the future. Know what I'm saying? Any tendonitis issues? Do I do any workouts? No, I never really have. I don't know. How was the rally? Skipped the rally last night. We didn't busk last night though. We went to St. Armand's, and me and Katie and her friend Grace, we all kind of busked a little bit. There's a little teaser of it on my Instagram right now. When someone requested Born in the USA, and then we played Party in the USA instead to honor that man's request. Yeah, so that was pretty funny. Hi Sean, do you like playing on electric or acoustic guitar? Both, for sure. I like both. I just really love the low maintenance aspect of an acoustic guitar. You know what I mean? This is all you need. This is a Taylor 614 Builder's Edition, by the way, in case anybody's wondering. There's just something that's so nice about just being able to pick up an acoustic guitar and just start playing. Doesn't matter where you are, you can take it anywhere. Again, I love electric guitar too, but I feel more of a connection with an acoustic guitar. I feel like it's more of an extension for like songwriting, So if I had to pick one, I'd probably say acoustic. But yeah, I know. Yeah, no barbecue today yet. I think we're doing some kind of family dinner around 8 or something like that. But yeah, no. Vegan barbecue. I'm sure we'll hook up some black bean burgers or something. Taylor or Martin? That's a great question. I think I'm probably more Team Taylor at the moment, for sure. I mean, I am a Taylor artist, so I feel like I have to say that. They sent me this guitar. But also, I like Martin a lot too. I got my Martin GPC PA4 fixed, actually, at 7 C's Music in St. Pete, which is an awesome guitar shop. And Martin hooked it up. They fixed it for free. and they didn't know I was a YouTuber or anything. So it's like, solid on them. Awesome customer service. And I love that Martin. But yeah, I feel like Taylor's play better. The playability is really nice. But a lot of them are a little bright for my taste. So if you were just to randomly pick a Martin guitar or a Taylor guitar out of just all of them on Earth, I feel like I would probably like the sound of the Martins on average a little bit better, but particular Taylors, like the 614, any of the Grand Auditorium shaped Taylors, I think are just like perfect. They're just, I just can't get enough. I think they're just the perfect balance of a guitar that I've played. That's why I try, most of the acoustics I have are Grand Auditorium style. And I think Taylor just really, their build quality and their playability straight from the factory is just, I think, the best in the business for sure. But that being said, I love my Martin GPC PA4. And I think someday I probably will have like a D35 or a, you know, a Dreadnought Martin, just because they're so iconic. You know what I mean? So you really can't go wrong with either of them. So, any preference for a brand of strings? Acoustic, I really kind of exclusively play Elixirs at this point. I love the Elixir 8020 Phosphor Bronze ones. Usually I put 12s on them, but the guitars that I perform with, I put 11s on them. And someone else also asked about the Acoustasonic, which is actually funny you mentioned that, because sometime this week I'm going to post a shootout that I did with this Taylor, the Martin, the Acoustasonic, and my Cort A6 Gold, because I want to see just which one, like a blind shootout where it's just the acoustic pickup, just to kind of see how it fares against each other. Because I'm always like, I'm never 100% satisfied with my live sound, which is always just direct into the PA. Like, it'll sound good in the room, but then I get the recording of it, which is like the DI recording, and it's always just so bright that I end up turning the highs way down, and I can never get it exactly how I want it to sound. So I'm going to shoot them all out. I'm going to throw the Acoustasonic in there, just because a lot of people are haters because of how it looks. So we're actually going to find out if I can be fooled by the sound of it against some of the other heavy-hitting manufacturers and stuff like that. Hoping you guys can play Polestar live and post it. Oh, totally, right? If you've never heard Polestar, I think it's probably the best song off Ryders 2. And there's a couple versions. There's me singing it. She's over it. Vapors in me, escort her in. It's a light up the sky. She's my pole star. I love that song. And especially with like most of the instrumentation. We'll do an acoustic version. We actually play it at our shows. Although Drea likes playing it in C minor. Again, it's originally in D minor. So I've played that song so many times in D minor. They're playing it in... It still hurts my brain sometimes to do it. But when we do that live, we always do it down a step in C minor. Just because it's really high for her. But yeah, there are many versions of Polestar online. There's the one that I did off of my solo album, which I think sounds pretty cool. But again, Drea's such a phenomenal singer. I would prefer to listen to Andrea sing absolutely anything else over myself. You know what I mean? She's just that good of a singer. And an even better person. So shout out to Drea. She's in Carolina right now. She'll be back Monday, I think. You want to see me transcribe a solo? Which solo? The Acoustasonic Telly looks pretty cool. Yeah, definitely. I think, man, all of them really look cool. I think the Acoustasonic Strat is my favorite, but the Jazzmaster, I'm not a huge burst guy, but that orange burst on the Jazzmaster that I have looks really cool too. You know, If you could have had one artist band that didn't do an MTV Unplugged, who would it have been? Well, I'm not sure exactly who has done Unplugged stuff, but did Soundgarden ever do Unplugged? Because I've seen some of Chris Cornell's acoustic stuff, and it's like it's so good. You know what I mean? Like Chris Cornell is such an underrated guitar player. Like we all know that he's like the greatest singer on earth, but for his time, but like he's such a good acoustic guitar player, and his arrangements are so good. Like what is it? Seasons, I think is the name of that song. He does like a mashup with that and some other stuff. So I'm gonna say Soundgarden. Maybe they did one, but you know, that's my answer. Just because Chris Cornell's the man. Why does David always shout when he's with you? Oh, Davidas? But talks like an angel when he's busking? Davidas. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Because that's my boy, and he just gets hyped when we're hanging out. Yeah, it is pretty funny. Every time Davidas is on the channel, he gets very animated. But he's such like a gentle soul that when he's busking, he's like, "Oh, hey, thanks for coming out, guys. It's really nice to meet you." But then you get him on the couch, he's like, "Ortega guitars," and he can't control himself. But hopefully there will be a clip of Katie joining him to play a very popular song sometime soon, because that went down last week. So yeah. All New 40 has been getting into Radiohead lately. Wonderful stuff. Oh my gosh, can we talk about it? How are you getting into Radiohead? Because I'm so excited to hear that. I remember when I got into radio. I'll tell you how I got into Radiohead, guys. This was early 2000s. I think I was in college. And Radiohead kept winning Band of the Year. I think this is probably because I wasn't into Radiohead before Hail to the Thief. I think right around Hail to the Thief is when I started getting into Radiohead, like right after they released that. So, you know, I think they won Band of the Year for Kid A, obviously. They won Band of the Year again for Amnesiac. And I was like, why do these guys keep winning Band of the Year? Like, I didn't understand. I'm like that, the guys from that Creep song didn't get it at all, right? Everyone was putting OK Computer at like the top of like the greatest modern albums of all time. And I just never really understood, right? And I started playing guitar, I guess, when I was like 17, 18. I was like, all right. But my guitar playing was 100% from Hendrix, Zeppelin, and Elliott Smith. Maybe Death Cab for Cutie also. Those are like my four, even though it's a variety for sure. But those are like my four bands. And then at one point, I was actually living in Michigan at the time. And I was at like spring break or something maybe, so I came down to visit my mom and my grandma in Florida. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get into radio. I'm gonna give it a try. And I remember I bought OK Computer on CD and played it in my Sony Walkman, right? And then I sat and I listened to it, because I would never do that. I'm like frenetic. I'm always doing crap all the time. I mean, you guys see, like I post a video every day. I'm working, doing all this stuff. Like I can't slow down. So I was like, I'm actually gonna sit. I'm gonna listen to this album, and like it changed my whole musical life. I was like, OK Computer is amazing. From the first song, Airbag, like there's something so majestic about Airbag. And that goes right into Paranoid Android, and I'm like, this is like such like I feel like I was ready for the Radiohead journey that it took me on. And then after that, I went and I bought Amnesiac, and then the next day I went back to Best Buy and I bought Kid A, and then I bought Hail to the Thief. Except I was upset because I thought I was getting a deal on Hail to the Thief, getting it for like $9, but really I was buying like the B-sides of Hail to the Thief, but it had the exact same album cover, and it was like the European. It was a mess. But I just really binged the entire Radiohead discography that like 1 week. So, you know. Can we get a lesson on slide guitar? I suck at slide guitar. Me and Davidas did a slide guitar lesson. If you type in Sean Daniels slide guitar, it's probably up there. But I should have him back, because he's so good at slide guitar. And I just suck at it. You know what I mean? Thoughts on Ed O'Brien's playing? Tasty. You know, I think Ed O'Brien's like Ed O'Brien is a great example of just such a solid musician because I'm never impressed by, you know, musical acrobatics and stuff. And I think Ed O'Brien is very gifted in that he just always knows the right thing to play. And even though he doesn't often take the lead on anything, and I think what he wrote, like A Wolf at the Door, I think that's kind of like the one song that he wrote. Ed O'Brien's solo stuff, by the way, is definitely worth listening to. EOB, if you haven't. Just really, really great sounding stuff. And I think listening to his solo stuff makes you appreciate how well suited he is for his role in the band. Because, you know, a lot of people are like, yeah, he doesn't really do much. But I think having the musical taste to just provide like a texture or just be on shaker, you know what I mean, is underrated quality for sure for a musician. And like that band is so next level with, you know, the Greenwoods and Selway and Tom York just really doing kind of like what I think outsiders see as like the heavy lifting. Having a fifth guy like that that always just knows exactly what to do and exactly how to sit in with what they're doing, I think is like the perfect complement. And I think that band actually wouldn't be as good without him. You know what I mean? So yeah, Ed O'Brien, shout out, the man. Any tips for older starters? Patience, be patient. I think, you know, I've had like a lot of adult students or older students and stuff, and I think there's a misconception that like kids are better at learning. I was just talking to my girl Eileen, who I teach piano lessons with every now and then, about this Friday, where adults will get hung up on their mistakes a lot. So that's something that little kids never do because little kids suck at everything. You know what I mean? So when they make a mistake on guitar, it's like this is just another thing in their life that they suck at. So they approach it so much more fearlessly. You know, they never get hung up on mistakes. They just keep doing it because they're kind of doing what they're shown. And then, you know, the ones who have a lot of aptitude kind of will take it on their own and continue to do it. Whereas adults will kind of see what's happening and you're used to doing what you're doing well, right? Most of us are, anyway. I can't really speak for myself in that regard, but you know, you're probably dwelling on your mistakes a little bit more than like a younger beginner would. So I think it's just about having patience with yourself and knowing that like everybody is not good at first. And how you evaluate your mistakes, you should keep that in mind. Be like, guess what? Everybody sucks when they first start out. So if like you're having a hard time just going G to C to D, like give yourself a break. It's gonna take a minute. You know, don't get frustrated. Try to find a way that you're getting enjoyment from it, and just stick with it. So yeah, it'll be fun. You'll have a great time. Just don't be hard on yourself. So again, that's more of like a psychological tip than a hot lick tip, but that's my advice. What kind of music these days are your younger toots wanting to play? Huh, that's interesting. You know, it's funny, like, they still want to play the old stuff. I don't know what maybe it's, there's something that's very, when you're starting out, you want to learn riffs, right? And also too, I think younger students are getting into it and they're getting fed stuff by what their parents listen to or listened to. And I think there's a lot of, I think that the parents are very happy to kind of relive some of the music that they listened to when they were younger and kind of show their kids when they start playing guitar. So funny enough, like the kids love learning Zeppelin songs. White Stripe songs are something that kids seem to really, really like a lot. Billie Eilish, as far as like a modern artist, that the songs are kind of accessible, that are still kind of fun to play. I think Billie Eilish has some good ones that they usually like. But you'd be surprised, like a lot of it is the same stuff that I grew up learning. They like to learn too, and they'll actually ask me to do it. Cause I'll do like, all right, I'll give you 4 riffs to choose from, and you pick the one that you want me to teach you, right? And then I'll do something modern-ish, like some Arctic Monkeys or something. And then I'll do like some, I don't know, I'll probably do some kind of like Radiohead thing. And then I'll do And they always pick the Dragonfly riff. They can tell. They have great taste. They're like, oh, teach me that one. And I'm like, that one's one of mine. And they're like, oh my gosh. Oh, this legend. Modern music stinks. Modern music doesn't stink. I think it's just modern pop music. You can make that case for me. I'm doing a video potentially this week about my thoughts on Taylor Swift. And I've got some hot takes on Taylor Swift that I'm not going to spoil right now. But they're hot takes. The new Hiatus Coyote album, I couldn't even say the word. I was so excited about it. Mood Valiant, that was listening homework for the video on Wednesday. New Hiatus Coyote album is so good. So modern music does not suck. You just have to know what to look for. I think, if you're expecting to find music as good as pop music in like the 70s, right? You're not going to find that on the modern charts because it's all hip hop. This is where the culture has kind of moved. It's Olivia Rodrigo, and hip hop, which is fine. Like I'm about it. Some of the stuff I think is very entertaining. Not my style, but you can totally find stuff all over the place that is just like amazing. Again, the new Hiatus Coyote album is like so musically dense. I feel like they're as musically gifted as any band from like the heyday of rock or anything like that. It's just so good. So good. Howdy from Australia. Will, good to see you, man. I gotta make it out to Australia sometime. You've noticed a lot of acoustic guitars coming back into popular music. A rapper just did a song with Billy Strings. Pretty cool. Yeah, I think, and even that, I don't know. I think a lot of the culture is going into sampling cool stuff. Even the hip hop stuff can be very musical with like the selecting of samples, the production that goes into it. I know it's not like new, but To Pimp a Butterfly, Kendrick Lamar, like the band for that is it doesn't get better than Thundercat, Flying Lotus, Kamasi Washington, Glasper. Like those guys are so musically gifted and they're so musically educated that sometimes you just have to kind of like look for it, But again, you're not going to find that in like the top pop hits, but it's out there. So make it happen. It is, right? It is Olivia Rodrigo and hip hop. That's like, if you look at it, it's the whole thing. Which again, I'm not even hating. It's just whatever. The hardest song that you've ever taught yourself by ear, huh? That's an interesting question. Because again, I would say that Condor Avenue, like I said earlier. But I was kind of, does that count? Because that was hard, and I had the help of sweetadeline.net to kind of give me most of the stuff. But that was like 50% by ear, 50% by tabs. It's a tough question. Maybe I think that's going to be it. Or actually, maybe one of mine. Yeah, I'll say, because obviously I taught myself that by ear, I will say Trigger Man. Sean Daniel, Trigger Man. Listen to that song. That's a virtuoso performance. Virtuoso, not really, but like that's a tough one. That's a tough one, especially on acoustic guitar. But Trigger Man, learn that by ear because I wrote it. So yes. Given how much sampling Led Zeppelin did, oh stop it. Do you think the Florida people stereotypes are true? That's a very interesting question. Yeah, sure, of course they are. But I mean, it's not across the board. You know what I mean? Like it's like anywhere else. You got good ones, you got bad ones. I don't know. It's not. I think Florida's a great place to live, specifically Sarasota, Florida. But at the same time, there's a lot of sus behavior going on out there that I can corroborate for sure. So yeah, the Florida stereotypes are alive and well. That's all I'll say. But again, it's like anything else. It's like, what are your... It's not like if you're thinking about moving to Florida, you're like, am I going to have to become friends with a bunch of meth addicted hillbillies? Like, no, like I don't know anybody like that. So if that's what your stereotype is, I think you'll be disappointed. We're not all on meth and we're not all hillbillies, but you could probably find that if that's what you're looking for. You could probably find that in the Hamptons or the Palisades if you were really looking for it. But yeah, there's yeah, Robert's from Jersey. He's a Jersey boy through and through. Oh, you just moved to Florida, Mark? Welcome to the party. Yeah, Sarajevo's great. Sarajevo's a great place to live. It's a little old, it's not the hippest spot. That's one of the things that stinks about playing with Davidas. Again, we were busking last night at St. Armand's, which is a great spot to busk, but there's like a noise ordinance in town where at 10 o'clock, everything shuts down. So you can't have anything going on after 10. Like you can't even get food after like 8, which is like, that's like weird, right? That's super weird. Why is it like that? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. A little old, but again, I love it. Do they still have Club Applebee's? I don't know what that is, but I'm sure. Why is your sofa and paintings gray? The sofa came like this. The paintings are actually soundproofing material that I made. That works really well. Like, I like the sound of this room. Like, you can even tell, like, there's not a lot of echo in this room, and it's a fairly big room. So the soundproofing works, which is great. And I picked it gray because it matches the couch. And because I don't want the focus to be on the back. I want the focus to be right here, guys. This is it. This is the moneymaker. People aren't tuning in to see some fancy couch or some weird paintings. This is what people expect. Oh my gosh, a donation. Any advice for learning music theory? I've tried for a long time and feel I've gotten almost nowhere. You'd like to start making your own music. All right, chords. All comes down to chords, all right? I can't stress importantly enough. Everything you need to know about music theory is chords, right? When I say need to know, especially if you're like interested in writing songs, I think we can get a little too heady with music theory sometimes, thinking about like modes and harmonic minor stuff. Start like learning and putting energy into music theory stuff that you'll probably never use or will use very, very infrequently. Or if you do use it, you're trying to use it to justify knowing it, which I know a lot of bands do that. You can tell, be like, this was not an organic decision to have the bridge be a tritone and then to add a secondary dominant over the Picardy third. You know what I mean? Like, it can get a little precious sometimes, but the very basics of it, chord building. And any key has 7 notes. Key G. You can learn a hand shape to help you remember it. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. You can memorize that, like, all right, there's 1 sharp in the key of G. It has an F. I don't even think you have to do that. You just have to know that there's 7 letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They're all going to be represented in any key. Sometimes they might be sharp, sometimes they might be flat. That doesn't matter off the bat. There's 7 different notes in a key, all of them represented by a letter A through G. All of them become chords, all right? So in the key of G, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, okay? Again, technically an F sharp, but just think of it as an F, right? The first, 4th, and 5th notes, G, A, B, C, and D, become major chords, all right? So you can look up a chord chart online, be like, what's a G major, C major, D major? G major, C major, D major, right? All right, so those are the major chords to work with. The rest of them fall into place. The second note is A minor. The third note is B minor. The 6th note is E minor. All of a sudden, then you can make a chord scale. G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor. So those chords go together, all right? Now you can use a capo and use those same chords anywhere. So if like you're trying to write a song, rearrange those 6 different chords in whatever you think sounds good, and then just naturally try to sing words over it or something, and you'll stumble upon, it's only going to sound good when you use these notes. You don't have to think about it. but you'll just kind of put those things in the right spots. And then instead of trying to memorize all of them, just use a capo, and then like, all right, well now I'll just use, capo on 3. I'll put a G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, G, right? And that's the same chords, just in a different key. And then once you have that down, everything falls into place, because then you can just ask yourself, well, what makes a major chord? It's like, oh, we've got these things called arpeggios, right? You just take the notes in that chord, G, B, D, G. You could do that all over the place. G, B, D, G, B, D, G, B, D. Over and over again, right? And then once you start finding those little hand shapes that kind of give you all the positions all over the guitar, right? So again, all that comes from chord building, right? You would think something like, what I just played, right? It's like, oh, that's like a scale. No, that's just a G major chord, right? Once I started like understanding, oh, this makes sense. These are just chords, right? Notes within a chord, and then how you can come up with like different strings to connect them, then you're golden. So that's my best advice. Learn how those chords go together. Learn groupings of chords instead of memorizing chord shapes. Because again, I was at the point where, when I really wanted to learn, I would just maybe memorize a new chord shape. So I'd be like, oh, C sharp dominant 7. I'm going to take initiative and I'm going to learn C sharp dominant 7. I'm going to do this, right? Well, that doesn't help you at all unless you're trying to read off a chord sheet and then you see it and you diagnose it. It's so much better to learn these things contextually. That's why you learn them as groups of chords and you learn hand shapes. I have a video called Learn 100 Chords in 8 Minutes or something like that. And that's just about learning how to diagnose a root note and then change the chord shape on it. And again, you learn 100 chords just by learning a few shapes, right? And that was like my first YouTube video to kind of take off, because that was, I never had any ideas of becoming like a professional YouTuber, Like, I'm happy that it worked out that way for sure, but I made that video specifically just because, like, that was a huge moment for me, understanding that I can do any chord with one shape. Like, you learn one shape, you learn 12 chords, because there's only 12 notes in music. So I truly just made that just because I thought other people could find it helpful. I never, thought that would catapult, like, a career or anything. But I'm definitely glad that it did. So thank you. Thank you for hanging out and being along for the journey. Know what I'm saying? All right. Yeah. Chris Cooper, what's up? Caught me live. Absolutely. The TCU wiretap for recording ideas. I'm riding this musician thing really hard until my soap opera career takes off. That's my that's a thing that I said, right? All right, let's hide that person. Great. Yeah, apparently I said that, that I'm riding this musician thing hard till my soap opera career takes off. I don't remember a lot of the things I say, but I'm confident that I said that, and I probably have that imprint somewhere. And it is also true. So if anybody knows how to get on, actually wait, no, I changed this. I don't want to be a soap opera star anymore. I want to be in a Hallmark movie. I want to be a Hallmark movie actor, and I have to get my SAG card. So I'm going back to Los Angeles in August because I'm able to get my SAG card, right? So I'm going to get that. Then I can become a soap opera, I keep saying soap opera. I got to re-manifest. Hallmark movie actor. It's so much easier to be in Hallmark movies. You know what I mean? So help me, please. Because I was born to be in a Hallmark Christmas movie as like the douchebag, boyfriend, whatever. Didn't we hide this person's comments? Oh. I just unhid them? How did I do that? Oh, maybe a moderator hid it and I'm unhid. That's, I've got a feeling that's not actually Gwen Stefani. Something tells me. I don't know. Yeah. Say it in a bar tough. Oh, yeah. I think I banned them. Did I ban that person? Arcos, what's up, man? Good to see you. Have you checked? How does this person keep getting back on? I can't. Hide user. Remove. Report. Hate speech. This is freedom. This isn't hate speech day. Yeah, it's a different Gwen Stefani account. Oh my gosh. How do we do this? Oh, the spam. Anyways, what was I saying? A Hallmark movie about your soap opera career? I guess that would be interesting. You know, sure, let's do it, please. The Hydra of racist bots. It is the Hydra of racist bots. You cut off one head and they just come back. But you know what? We never stop fighting for freedom here. I'll ban them as many times as they come back. I'll make y'all moderators. We can ban them together, for sure. The Strat. I talked a little bit about that Strat earlier. The 62 reissue, Fender Strat. So it's from like 2008, I think. Great Strat. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? Oh man, I don't know. What is 0? Sure. Sounds like a trick question. Love the color, right? Let's show the people again. The Sherwood green, the finest of all green colors. Just amazing. Yep. Are you experienced? Of course. What are you drinking? Cold brew. Cold brew coffee from Starbucks. Have you checked out Weezer's new album, OK Human? No. Rowdy the Cat. Is it good? Should I check it out? What is it? Is it comparable to the other Weezer stuff? Because again, oh no, he's back. I like Weezer, but I don't know. Is Weezer still relevant and like putting out good stuff? I don't know. You tell me. Is it good? Man, how does this person keep getting on here? I keep hiding these comments. Hide user in there. Who wants to be... All right, Robert, guess what? My man, you are a moderator, so now you have the power to block people yourself. There you go, Robert. Do it. Wield that power wisely, my man. See if you can take care of that for me. Do you believe in the 10,000 hour rule for guitar? Here, let's make a couple moderators. Why not? All new, because you're getting into Radiohead, also a moderator. But make it happen, guys. 10,000 hour rule. I mean, sure, if you practice guitar for 10,000 hours, you're gonna be awesome, right? But I don't know. So if you don't know what the 10,000 hour rule is, it's like a Malcolm Gladwell proposition that anybody can master stuff with 10,000 hours worth of like practice, I guess. I don't know if I'm 100% on board with that, because I don't think it takes into account the depth that certain skills or professions have, right? But I definitely think that if you put 10,000 hours of practice into guitar, that qualifies you to be a guitar master, right? So yes, absolutely, that would work. As I've said before, your original tune, Moonpool, is exceptional. Everyone check it out. Excellent work on that. Thank you so much. Yeah, Moonpool, man. I love how that song turned out. If you guys haven't heard it, it's in B major, mostly. Yeah, hide user keeps coming back somehow. I don't know. We've got some bot issues, YouTube. But again, try not to get distracted. If you guys haven't listened to Moonpool, please, that would help us out if you streamed it. It's kind of funny how streams work. Like you have to get. I've been learning more about this because I have some friends who are like actually really big artists, I suppose. And the way that they tell me is like, if you can organically get 10 to 100,000 streams, then you're more likely to get playlisted and then become bigger on Spotify, right? This is the new stuff that I've heard from some people. And it's like, that seems so impossible to get that many streams. Because I love how that song turned out. Drea's singing is like so perfect on it. And it just matches the vibe of what we've got going. It's like a B major to B flat to A flat to B flat, E major 7, F sharp, E major 7. So yeah, it's one of my favorite songs for us to play live now, even though it's definitely more of a chill one. Oh right, yeah, Archives for sure. You are a mod for Davi, so yes. And because you gifted us Andrea's Muppet, Archives in the spot. Yeah, looks like the bots are gone. Robert, are you okay? Are you okay with this power? We can take it away if it's too much for you. But I understand. I'm sorry I hoisted that upon you. Oh, Lily! Oh, Lily! I'm gonna message you later today. We got something we're working on. I'm sorry it's been busy, but yes, thank you for joining. Yeah, the chords to Moonpool. Love that song. Guys, please listen to Moonpool. It's so good. Yes, the puppets. If I wrote a book, what would the title be? It's a great question. I guess it depends on, like a biography type deal. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that. Remember I had the one intro joke that was I, ride. I ride. That's the Sean Daniels story. Man, if I wrote a book. See, the thing is, if I wrote a book, I would want it to be like a tell-all book, because my best stories I can't tell, and I'm so upset that I can't tell them. But like, I'm not gonna do people like that to actually tell my best stories. But maybe I could swing it where if the book came out after I died, I wouldn't feel bad about it. So we'll see. Yes, a memoir. Yes, I, ride, bro. That's exactly what it was supposed to be. A tell-all. Yeah, a tell-all about Andrea. Tell you where the bodies are buried. Yeah, that'd be it. Good times. Yeah, a book would be so awesome. I would love to write a book someday. Can I play some rhythmic improv? In what key? Give me a key, everybody, and we'll try some rhythmic improv. Whatever. No, my best stories aren't about other people, but they involve other people. There are some... My best stories are romantically inclined. And I can't... some of the female parties would not be down. Was key D? All right, key of D. So we'll start with D major 7. I've been going to this B minor. Whenever I think of rhythmic improv, I always think of 1, 4, 5, 6, right? So if we start on D, then go to the 6th chord, B minor 11, 5, kind of the 5, to the 4, this is just 1 to 4. Kind of went off the rails there. What was I trying to do? I guess I kind of like this major 7 chord voicing right here. That little staircase guy. So that's just D to G. A7. Chord voicings, you know what I mean? Like the melody is baked into those chord voicings. That's why I love 7th chords and 11 chords. I'm a big fan of. Polestar deserves an acoustic version. I believe there is one, right? I think. Maybe there's not. Did we just do that live and it wasn't recorded? I feel like there is an acoustic Polestar. Could be wrong about that. How many famous songs do you know where the time signature changes? Define famous. Time signature? I know there's St. Vincent, Paris is Burning. Great song. Is that famous? I like it a lot. It goes from 4 to 3. I love that. Wouldn't you just call it D major? Yeah, that'd just be key of D major, you know? Sing a song. What song you want to hear? A Rider song, or you want to hear like a cover? You could ride. See if I have a voice left. Want to do a reminder for the 4th of July? Some advice on composing in Lydian: just listen to my songs. Everything's built around this chord here. I know that it's wrong to stray from the path I started yesterday, but in my heart that's just one way to show the things I meant to say. She reminds me someone that I used to know before my feathers turned to stone, when love was blood and not in bone. That's what she reminds me of innocent sweet chase, focus in my darkest day. Someone to get lost with is why I swear. And that is why my path has changed to the unknown from rough terrain. It may be wrong, something strange. That is why my path has changed. Reminder off the original Emeryld Ryders song. It's hard to go from talking a lot to singing. I will say, as someone who's not naturally a great singer, again, I can do it. I'm not hating on myself, but I have such respect for people who can just like talk and then go right into it. I feel like that's underrated skill that people can do. Getting that cold brew down. Mm-hmm. Yes. Spam not saying what? They're still there. The 5 major is the same as the 1 leading. Yeah, you can look at it all sorts of ways. You know what I mean? Red Bear 77. So happy to help. There one piece of advice that I could give. One piece of advice that's not psychological, because I talked about the being easy on yourself part earlier. Let me think. I would say let's make it something triads, right? Let's talk about seeing triads in a different way. One thing that I wish I would have seen earlier or had explained to me earlier was this versus this. Okay? So if you just hold the bottom 3 strings down on the 5th fret, that's a minor chord. Okay? So this is a minor chord voicing wherever your root note is on the highest string. So the 5th fret on the highest string is an A. So it's A minor, A sharp minor, B minor, C minor, so on and so forth, right? Now, aside from just being a chord voicing, this is also a great way to get into minor pentatonic, right? Right? You can slide in. I like that little slide to the G string and then hit the high E string. And that goes into that position shape that a lot of people learn, right? But I never really saw that as a triad when I was starting out. You know, I wish somebody would have been like, this is a chord right there. Guess what? Everything you do from that chord, you can just kind of rock out from there, right? Now, when you put your middle finger right there, 1 fret higher on the G string, now it's a major triad. So now, it's a major chord, which again is hidden inside this form of a bar chord, right? And then you can still do licks that are major, right? So again, A major, A minor. Right? And there's, you know, you can hear that difference. A minor. And then just by adding that one note, just by adding that one note changes everything, right? And that's the difference between major and minor, because, you know, I was always like, I don't know, they were just words to me when I was starting out. A major, A minor, you know, I knew them to be opposites because of just vocabulary, right? So I think thinking of them less as opposites and more as things you can hear really is a tip that I would say. Just spend some time with it. You know what I mean? Again, you can think of it just as a chord voicing, and then eventually you will see that chord voicing hidden in the shapes. And it's easy to do. It's just 3. They're the easiest 3 strings to hold down because they're the thinnest. So they require the least amount of pressure to put on it, and they're really good because with your thumb directly behind it. That's another thing. Don't do this. Think of your thumb as pushing through the guitar neck for different things, right? So push it, right? Instead of like, I'll see a lot of beginners kind of try to jam their hand into weird spots. So think about your thumb, where it is on the back of the neck, and then kind of just think of the top 3 strings as triads. Major, minor. There's your tip. It's a good tip. And I love her uses those 3 notes. You'd be amazed at how many songs just use triads. You know what I mean? 3-note chord, triad. So there we go. Yeah, pick your battles. It's just a chat room, mates. I don't know what we're talking about. Probably some weird hate speech bot back at it. Sorry, I missed it. I was too busy educating. What a douchey thing to say. Sorry, I missed it. I was busy educating. What'd you do today? I educated. Oh, I love it. Your opening jokes in all your videos are hilarious. Thank you for the content you put out. Hey, thank you so much. The opening jokes are the hardest part of this entire channel, as I've said many, many times. It's hard coming up with a stupid joke. Dead people frozen in time. Oh, Pompeii? All right, this is great. So we posted a video, a week or two ago? It was like a gig vlog from a show that me and Andrea were doing. And it was like we closed the show in the dumbest way possible. We played the song Pompeii that we wrote for one of our school projects years ago. And it's basically a song about Mount Vesuvius erupting and destroying the city of Pompeii, right? So the... Dead people frozen in time. Like, that's the chorus, right? It's so great because we just have fun facts about Pompeii. I mean, fun facts. If you were in Pompeii, they're probably not very fun, but it's like 79 AD, just another day in Pompeii. It's tending the cattle and making jars out of clay. What's that in the distance near Mount Vesuvius? It's a volcano and it's coming for us.